Ty, can you talk more about grit and how to build mental toughness with anything you do? First of all, what you do is what builds mental toughness. I'm telling you, and I was introduced to this concept separately from the shit I do now. I remember I was looking at like medical schools and medical school acceptances and what they look for as I was doing my research right years ago. And it was this dude. He was some type of surgeon. I don't even remember what kind of doctor he was. This was years ago. But he was talking about how medical schools were looking for grit in their students. And grit just had to do with the fact that most of the time, the people that apply to these schools or try to get into them have been A+ students their entire life. Never failed a class, never got anything at lower than a 93 in a class. They've been perfect. They've been like perfectionists, top tier, all that type of students. And then oftentimes when they get to medical school, they will get a C, they will get a B, they will get something like that. Or even any of these Ivy League universities. They sometimes, these universities often deal with the most suicides, the most self-harm attempts, because a lot of these students were used to being the smartest in their class. They were used to trying hard and getting those results from them. And then when they're challenged with a bad result, they don't know how to handle it. That's the lack of grit. And grit is being able to take a hit, to fail, to just eat any fucking punch and keep it pushing. That's grit. That's true grit. Man, that fucking dirty. That fucking can go through mud and come out stronger. That's grit. And grit is not tested until you are tested. And if you have never been tested, which is why like a lot of these students, they never had to be tested with failing a class. They never had to be tested of what they would do when they fuck up. And lo and behold, the first time it happens, it destroys them. Meanwhile, somebody who has been fucking up their whole life, made a bunch of mistakes, bounced back, lost it all, got it back, etc., they are already adapted to this nature of toughness. So learning for failure, pretty much. No, not learning for... See, why does your small-ass brain try to do shit like that? People always do shit like that. Like, so basically, so, blah, 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 so. Some things aren't meant to be so basic. How about that? I don't live a basic life, bro. I don't really think of things and make them basic. I don't really like basic information. Is it not learning from failure? No, learning from failure is growth. With grit is not that same thing. Grit is how you respond to failure. Now you can choose to grow, but either way, perseverance is the same thing. You might not even grow from the shit you fell from. You might not grow. You might just say, you know what, I'm gonna buckle up and go against it anyway. And then eventually you will grow. See the difference? Right, grit is resilience. Somebody did it again. So grit is resilience. You're using one word and compare it to a completely different word. How about grit is grit? It's called not and doing what you gotta do. Exactly. And that's why a lot of times motherfuckers who grew up the roughest just have certain things. Like people who grow up in the city, bigger cities, just have social skills. Or they tend to have better social skills than people who grew up in smaller towns. People who went through a lot of shit in their life, they just have a certain mental toughness, a certain grit, a certain attitude that people who have not experienced that level of shit have to learn. So it's like, you gotta realize where you lie on that spectrum. Me personally, I went through so much shit growing up in my life that nothing I ever, like listen, it's a Drake rap. He said, I'm not even gonna remember the rap. I think it's from Champagne Poetry. He said, man, this shit ain't nothing to me. I done been through tougher and got past harder. Or I done experienced tougher and got past it. So it's like when you go through some shit, bro, and you deal with that shit and you go past it, everything becomes indifferent. Everything. That's what makes it, in my opinion, that's what makes a strong man. A man who can sit here and shit hits the fan, push comes to shove, test comes to the situation of life, and that says, you know what, I got it. I'm doubling down. I'm picking up my pants. I'm you know, toughening my gut, and just goes. That's the trademark of a man, if there is one. If you ask me, gotta carry them boats. Exactly. Who gonna carry them logs, man? Who gonna carry them fucking logs? Real shit, bro. College and school feel like a prison to me. The internet seems more real and raw, you know. I ain't gonna lie, this is the main reason I officially say, you know what, I'm not going to school, and I feel like I should have never went back to begin with. Even though it was a goal of mine, what I realized and really giving respect to me as a person is, my work speaks for itself, number one. Then number two, when I'm on my own time, when I'm on my own plans, when I'm on my own structure, I work harder than I do or even could in school. Because again, the nature of school is that there's typically requirements. You fulfill those requirements and you get a grade for it. And a lot of times students will just put in the what needs to be done in order to get that grade, that A, that B, that C, that passing grade or whatever. My life don't work like that. There is no grade, there's no requirements, there's nothing. It's just a free scale. And with that free scale often comes overtime, extra credit, extra work. And I don't even consider it as extra because it's just the standard. It's just normal to me. Streaming 4 or 5 hours, editing the video after that, playing the guitar for 2 more hours, doing this. Like I'm not fulfilling I'm not saying to myself, all right, that's enough. Like, all right, that's what I need in order to get this A. Like, so being on my own time and my own structure, I learn faster. I get to focus on what needs to be going to chat. Remember what I said earlier, the concept of directness. People are oftentimes not direct with their goals. They have a goal, get better at dancing. They'll watch videos on dancing. They'll look for a coach. They'll look for a mentor. They'll watch other dancers. They'll do whatever they do. They'll do everything except dance. That's the main way to get better at dancing. The most direct way is dance. Now you can watch videos. You can add a bunch of shit to that learning program. But oftentimes people want to go, I want to grow my business. They haven't even started it. Don't even have a business, but know all this shit about growing a business. You don't even have a business. You didn't even start it. So I feel like in my life, when I'm on my own time, I have the most direction. School will give you a course and a class and say, listen, here's this semester. You got, how long do semester last? 4 months? 3-4 months to learn these concepts. And then get to the end of that degree. And then you might not even apply everything you learned. My life don't work like that. I learn what I need to learn and need to use and keep that shit pushing on to the next thing. Simple as that. And I want the ball in my hands. I don't want it in the hands of somebody else. I want the rock in my hands. Give me the rock, I'm going to cook with it. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about life. And if you trust yourself that much, if you believe in yourself that much, drop out of school. Improve yourself right. That's literally what I would tell myself before I even question going back. Now mind you, it was some arguable reasons. Like I said, I had a full ride. Even more than a full ride. I was getting paid to go to school. But at the end of the day, it's like, it cost me money to be there. Money that I could afford to have paid for the tuition anyway, if I wanted to go back later in life. So it's so much to it, bro. You got videos in the picture about roster management. I'm doing good, but you can always learn more. Were you here on my last stream when I was talking to the dude about, managing motion? Watch your videos. You help me grow a lot. I'm having trouble loving/accepting who I am. Any tips? Maybe you shouldn't love and accept who you are. Maybe you should realize that there's a better version of you want to become. Analyze the current version unconditionally, right? You do want to, whether you accept it or not, you are who you are, and it is what it is. In order to change it, you have to really look at it holistically. Look at the differences and close the gap, bro. How much you waste time? It depends on the day. Depends on the day. That's really a habit I've been strengthening a lot recently. Really telling myself like, yo, if you want to keep spreading out the gap, then tighten it up how much time you waste or do dilly-dally here and there. Mind you, I found solutions to shit like that, right? I said dilly-dally. Jay the Kid, I appreciate the big 24 months, man. Let me tell you something.
Pray everyone trying to be their best selves. Love ya niggas, man.
Love your niggas, man. I'll give you some examples of things I've done to make sure like I barely ever waste time. Because even when I'm doing something, it's probably not wasting time. When I eat, I only play like live musician performances. Because it helps me with my playing and me playing music and things I want to learn. When I'm scrolling on my phone, I've made it to the point like I'm probably checking on one of my social media platforms. Like I'm like, all right, where's this TikTok account at? How this last YouTube video done? What are the comments saying? What's this other person? Like I've just started to begin to replace what I do when I do relax or when I do give myself like, all right, I'm about to take a little break. I'm about to lean back for a second. And I've changed like the kind of shit I think about when I lean back. Am I thinking about shit that matters? Yeah, bro. To be fair, I never thought about doing that. I don't think it's time. Let me tell you something, chat.
2 years has arrived.
You got the winner's table. You got the loser's table. Every time you do something, you're getting closer to one of those tables. The winner's table ain't going to pull out a chair for you. But the loser's table is definitely waiting for more friends. Because all y'all do over there is talk about people, complain, and all y'all do is all y'all have is time. Ironically, y'all wasted the most. I ain't got no time. Don't call me to hang out. I can't come. Nah, man, I can't. But I can do something else, though. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Everything that aligns with my goals. Gil with the big 2 years in the building, baby. Now, mind you, chat, this shit has not always been perfect for me at all. And that's what I don't like. I stop being a people pleaser, start pleasing the right person. You always gonna be a people pleaser, but just make sure you're pleasing the right person. It better be the in the mirror. I please me a lot. You know, that sounds like some like masturbation type shit, but it's just like I said, I make goals and I do my best to get them done. That pleases me a lot, man. Yo, this nigga, man. Is it bad to have an elitist mindset? Somebody from the Patreon correct this nigga, man. What does he mean, is it bad? Somebody from the Patreon that's seen that video I'm talking about, can somebody tell me what this guy is asking me, man? Like, I didn't have this like understanding of a different perspective until I came to the internet. But for literally years in my life, I was around someone new. And by someone, I'm not even talking about one person. It could be anywhere from 5 to 20 plus. A new group of people, or new person, or new something, every day of my life for years in a row. At least 6. If I'm doing like, let's say the beginning of high school to like college and COVID and all that shit, at least 5-6 years straight. New people, new environments, from the jobs I was working, from the sports teams I played on, from the other students who went to different schools, from the students in my school. Like I said, 2,500 people. When I graduated, it was still people I didn't know in my graduating class. What the fuck? We graduated like 500, 600 people. I gotta ask somebody. When I graduating class was like 400 to like 600 people, somewhere in that range. We graduated. Who the fuck is that? So it's like that didn't seem anything different or special to me until I come to the internet and somebody's like, "Yo, my college has such and such 1,000 students." I'm like, "What?" That would probably feel like running into this, or my high school got 800 students or something like that. I'm like, "What?" I couldn't even imagine. So you might have to go make sure you do things to really get that much social interaction. You might gotta really work a job. You might gotta try different jobs at different places to put yourself on the line and really find those environments. I grew up in a big city, so it wasn't hard for me to just meet strangers and talk to strangers and make it normal and get better at that. I had like 60 to 70 people in my graduating class. Gee. Okay, that's crazy. How I get back a girl after cutting her off for being too busy? Call her. If you cut her off, she'll most likely answer that call. Asked this girl out. She said she would be out of town. Turns out she never left. Should I give the benefit of the doubt or not? My gut tells me cut that bitch off for lying about the dumbest shit ever. But then there's a toxic side of me that wants to say something I'm not going to say. So just cut her off, bro. Cut her off. Just notice the red flag, cut her off. Bless another young queen with the opportunity to fuck with a man like you. You know what I'm saying? My high school class was like 220. I'm from Philly. What school you went to? Todd just graduated. I'm struggling with confidence on decision making. How do I take the first step to improve? You only gonna learn your confidence by showing up first. That's the delusional part about confidence, chat. Like, you have to believe when you don't even believe, bro. You have to like find it, bro. It will come. It's not gonna be there to start. You gotta like kind of convince yourself over time. So the fact that it's not there, okay, exactly. You don't have it yet. It's not gonna be there. You're not confident. You don't have a high self-esteem. You don't believe in yourself yet. That's why it's rare in a person to have all of those things, because those people were delusional and crazy enough to believe when even they didn't believe, and then they convinced themselves eventually. Let me tell you something. You might not know it, right? But if there's 3 men, right? The guy who walked up to the girl and got her number, the guy who walked up to the girl and got rejected, and the guy who didn't approach her at all. The guy who got rejected and the guy who got her number have the same confidence level, and you don't even know it. You know how you know they got the same confidence level? Because they both were confident enough to walk over there. The moment you start something, you already are telling yourself you believe in yourself, regardless of how it goes. Now, you could let the result fuck with your mindset and all that. That's just some weak shit you decided to do after the fact. But you wouldn't even have done it unless you believed it for it to be possible or for a reason. So a lot of y'all have confidence, y'all just don't feel it because it ain't the fire ain't get strong enough yet. You know what I'm saying? That dog in you ain't start barking yet. Why people asking dumbass questions they can figure out? Because they don't talk to themselves. That's why. Ty, go in depth about thoughts leading to actions, leading to feelings, leading to actions, leading to results. In relation to taking action regardless of how you feel. The idea is that you already thought about what you wanted to do and what you wanted to get. And you stop at the feeling of it. You stop at, I feel like I can't do it. It's tough and all that other shit. And that is something that only probably came after you hesitated. So that statement about, do it without, no matter how you fucking feel, it just that's meant to override all the other bullshit that came once you started hesitating. You already put that foot in quicksand the moment you said, well, I don't know, man, because now you gotta really jump out the mud. Now you really gotta say, fuck that shit, I'm gonna do it anyway. Talk about the thoughts on thoughts.